In this video, I'm going to tell you about the 3 biggest mistakes that I see golfers make on a regular basis from thousands and thousands of lessons, what mistakes they make, how to rectify them, and that can make a massive difference to your golf. Number 1, the biggest mistake I see a lot of golfers make, and it tends to be more with the beginners, the higher handicappers, is aim. Okay, so quite a lot of amateurs are setting themselves up, and what they are doing is, you see this a lot, they stand up, they bring their club, they check their shoulders, they point the shoulders at the target, they come down, they check their hips are pointing at the target, they check their feet are pointing at the target, and then once they've got the body pointing at the target, they stick the face down, club face down, with not anywhere near as much thought, and then all of a sudden that club face is pointing miles to the right. Okay, so I think a key thing that we've got to try and remember, if we think of train tracks, this one here is going to be the club face, this one is the body alignment. So I've got the targets here, this is where the club face needs to point, that is the ball to target line. And from there, assuming that you hit the ball pretty straight, your body should be pointing or should be running parallel to that club face. So we've got the club face pointing down the target line, and then we've got the body. So the correct way to try and get aligned properly would be pick your target, then come in and align your club face first, get that in a good position, and then get your feet, your hips, and your shoulders all running parallel to that club face. Another little tip that you could try to make this easier would be pick an intermediate target on that line. So it could be a divot, a leaf, something that's sticking out on the ground, some sort of intermediate target on the floor. It won't be a golf ball, but that's just as an image. Pick that little spot, something between 1 and 5 yards away. Step in, aim the face first, then go with your feet, your hips and your shoulders, and then you can go. Number 1, club face first, body second. Common mistake number 2 that I would see regularly with a lot of golfers, all abilities, are how they set up for their short game. See lots and lots of lessons who set themselves up, ask them to play a chip or maybe a pitch onto the green, set themselves up, and it just looks as if they're about to play a 7-iron. Very little change. They change the length of swing, the speed of swing, but they don't go about changing the setup the way that they should to make this shot so much easier for themselves. So what we want to try and do is, when we are chipping, when we've got a small chip onto the green, rather than what I would see often, feet are shoulder width apart, weight is distributed evenly, 50-50, and if anything, swing back, scoop up on the ball, and then all of a sudden you can bring in some fats and some thins into play just from that setup position. So what we're really looking to do when we're around the green is to have a much narrower stance. So really what we're looking for is about 2 club heads wide if we're pitching. So if we're popping it up high, an A to B shot, that's the stance that we'd be going for. Maybe a little bit narrower if we're hitting a chip shot. So slightly narrower, maybe 1.5 club heads wide. The weight should really be favouring the left-hand side. And then when we're chipping, we should be standing considerably closer to the ball than our full shot. So much, much closer. Pitching maybe slightly further back to set the wrists a bit lower. But that is really going to help us make better contact. So set yourself up 1 to 2 club heads wide. The weight staying on the left-hand side, about 60%. Staying there. The foot is flared slightly. And then keeping that weight on that left leg, we just pivot around this line, back, turn through, narrow stance, weight left, back, through. Then we can really start to get some consistency around the greens with just a really simple setup change. Again, if we take a look at down the line, for chipping, quite often see shoulder width stance, quite far away from the ball, much closer, handle more upright, 1 to 2 club heads wide, weight stays on the left, and then from there, it makes it so much easier to make good contact. So common mistake number 3, I see this lots and lots, getting in a bunker, setting ourselves up, and then leaning back in order to help the ball up in the air. Okay, the theory sounds great. In reality, something completely different can happen. So when we set ourselves up, I would see a lot of 50-50 setups, not enough weight on the left leg, and then from there, making a backswing, leaning back in order to scoop up, and 2 things can happen. You can ground out super early, way before the sand, or miss the sand completely, blade the ball into the face, or shoot it for miles. Okay, so what we don't want to do is leaning back, doing exactly what we've done there. I've just hit that about 80 yards. So, the easy resolution, we set ourselves up, weight distribution, we bend our left knee towards our left toes, the toes of our left foot. That gets a good amount of weight onto the left leg. It's about 70 or 80%. Then from there, we keep that flex on the left knee. We splash the sand out about 1.5 to 2 inches before the ball without leaning back. Keep that flex in the left knee over the toes of the left foot. Swing back, keep the weight left. Splash the ball out, keep the weight left. Try this out in a bunker and you should see a huge difference to your contact. If you found this content useful, please do make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you're first to know about any future videos that come out, and comment down below how you get on with these tips.